a lot of people who think that you grow older and you know better, and that's the problem, because the world changes, the time changes, and what you are doing that might be ineffective or effective could have the opposite reaction in this current time and space. So if you were, 20 in 2000, let's just say you're 20 in 2000, and the way you were was not being, heavily sought after. That could actually be entirely different in 2022, especially when if you were, let's just make this an example, if you were a woman that was carrying yourself with, elegance and, woman-like characteristics that are not being displayed so much here in 2022, your value has probably went from being average to being rare. So realistically, the older you are does not necessarily make you wise, because if you go and say, hey, well, you know what? I tried this before. It wasn't working before. Let me actually become, more promiscuous like these other women. You're actually just biting the bait and you're putting yourself in a losing position. So what makes you wise is being able to understand why things didn't work and what can you do to make things work now? How can you grow in the current space and really actually execute learning from your mistakes rather than implementing them and being cemented to them, because they could be wrong or they could be right.
I think what Jada is saying is that you should be more wise as you get older, because you should be learning from your experiences, and you'd like to think that more people than not learn as they get older. And that's what it should be.
But you should go to college, right?
You
should go to school. But there's a lot of things you should be doing, and there's a lot of things that we should be doing. But at the end of the day, should and reality is not really always one hand in hand. I just think this. If you really want a relationship, getting a relationship is not that hard for a man or a woman. I think people like to complicate life, and life is extremely simple. If you want what you want, you need to know how to be what you want wants. Okay? If you don't want to do that, you're not going to get it. It's a simple result. And if you think you are doing it and you're not getting the results, that means you're not doing it right. So now that means you have to reassess, regroup, and revisit.
As you should be doing by the time you're 40.
Well, by the time you're whatever age, I don't care if you're 25. Realistically, there is no excuse for an adult who is old enough to drink and put poison in their body to not have the cognitive function to understand who they want to be and what they want to attract. It doesn't matter your age. There's 25-year-olds who are more wise than 45-year-olds and vice versa. So at the end of the day, it's all about understanding life. We talked about this, the degree. The main degree that you should want to have is a degree on life. The degree on people and understanding what you want out of life and what can you make life or how you can make life work for you, whether it be a relationship, an occupation, or whatever the case.
So you don't think there are any circumstances in which someone has worked on themselves, they're realistic in what they want out of a partner, but there really isn't anyone around them or in their circle that would be interested in being with them?
I think that what could happen, well, I can't say there's a, clear cut, but I would say that there's always going to be exceptions to the rule. But I would say that that person is either lacking something, not understanding something, or missing something, or what they want is really not for them. See, I've learned to understand that sometimes rejection, or not sometimes, I believe all the time, rejection is your protection. So if what you want is not finding you, then maybe that's not what you actually need. So what you should start to understand is, what are you attracting? Why are you attracting it? Maybe you're attracting people who are, Captain Save-A-Hos because you really need to be saved. You know what I'm saying? That's what you need in your life at that moment. Whatever that may be, you're attracting what you necessarily need, and that's what I firmly believe. I don't believe life misguides you. I believe we misguide ourselves.
So let me tell you my theory about attraction, which is not a very popular one.
I love it. I love not popular things.
I look at attraction and what you attract as everyone is a light, right? And if you've ever been down south or you've been to the Caribbean, there's lots of insects, different types of insects that are attracted to the light, right?
Moths.
Nice ones, ugly ones, ones with, 8 legs, 10 legs, right? And then, right, all different types. And I think what it is that we as people choose which insect we're going to entertain. I don't think that you are like, I don't think that you exist and you only attract bad or you only attract good. I think you
choose.
attract
We're in
all,
control,
and then us as an individual, we're in control to choose which one of these we're going to entertain.
Right, because we always talk about the types
Yeah,
of
what
things
the
that we
hell?
do
Come
and
on.
don't like and don't allow and don't accept and oh, I don't like that hair. You got to work out, or like we talk about so many things. You got to work out. You got to look this way, walk that way, talk this way, have this 6 figures, whatever. And then that's what our issue is, and that's where we mess up, because instead of like really analyzing the insects that we're attracting, we're just picking something just based off of the attraction,
Some shallow
some
shit.
bullshit.
No, you're you're
We
picking it
already-
off of what really and
Mostly shallow stuff.
it's not. Well, let's go one step further. Right, it is technically shallow. I believe people pick what they are told they should want. Right, if you're a woman, you're told, and I already said this, but if you're a woman and you're told that you should have a man that is emotionally intelligent, that's what you're gonna try to attract. But maybe you're a woman that don't need somebody who's so emotionally intelligent. Maybe you need someone who's more handy. I don't know. I'm just making an example. As a man, we're told that we should want the baddest woman. Well, maybe I don't need the baddest, prettiest girl. Maybe what I actually need is a smart woman who's gonna help me build my business, because she's business oriented herself. So I think everything really starts within us, and not only do I agree with your attraction of the light analogy, I also think that, if you learn to understand yourself, then you'll be like, well, why am I not picking caterpillars and I'm over here picking centipedes? You know what I'm saying? And then the worst part is, 10 years later, you go back and you pick another goddamn centipede. In fact, you pick the same centipede that you seen 10 years ago, and the butterfly that you curved, the caterpillar that you curved is now a butterfly. You know what I'm saying? Like, we gotta just be better and put your leg up sometimes.
So is people
I
going
like-
back or not?
I have a question.
Rico, I like what you said about like. Well, did you say this?
I said
or,
it.
Or did I just make this up in my head? But
We'll go with either one.
either one, right? You said it, I said it, I thought it, whatever. But like knowing like yourself or like what you want, I feel like is very important, because when you know what you want, then you can go after what you want. And I feel like tying it back to going back to an ex, I feel like it's a conflict between your heart and your mind. Because if you know what you want and you're trying to attract what you want and you're trying to go after what you want, but then like your heart is still like, but it's still him. Like, but I still want him. I want to try to work it out. I want to see if we can get, but that's not.
But sometimes what you want changes. Like, you might have been with a
Yes.
good dude at the time. I was 24. I was with a really nice guy. He was a really nice guy, right?
Yeah.
I didn't want a really nice guy when I was 24, right? And so I ended things. I went back on the scene. I mean, things worked out. I got married, I got the baby. But relatively speaking, if things didn't work out, and I said to myself, you know what? I do want a nice guy. I do want someone who's stable. I do want someone who's loving. Now that I'm older, I'm more reflective. I know you don't believe in older, but
Right.
now I'm older, I'm more reflective, right? I could say I've now changed my mind and I want to reconsider this. Now, whether or not he wants to give me a second chance, I would say he'd be dumb for doing so. But for me to go back, because I was the one who left, he was a good person. What I wanted has now changed,
But what if he wanted change too?
and now he don't want me.
Yeah.
I mean,
It don't be happening. That don't happen.
It's always one-sided, yo. I swear to
happen.
God.
well, no, but I was honest. I said,
No,
like,
no,
he was
I
the
like
one who
it.
was
I
mature.
love
He
it.
was right. And that's not where I was yet, developmentally, emotionally, whatever. So sometimes you come to the realization that what that person was is exactly what you needed, and that's why you do need to go back again. Whether or not they want to give you a chance is up to them.
People are natural. I feel like more people are programmed to quit in life than they are to continue to push through. And that's why they decide to go back with an ex. It's the comfortable route. And the comfortable route will never be non-existent for anybody. The only problem is it's never going to be fulfilling.
But my thing is, anytime I've thought about going back to an ex, actually there was a situation where I did. There was a situation. And it's because, again, you think the grass is going to be greener on the other side. And then you go back to something that you dated when you were younger, and you kind of realize, again, like you said, that person's mindset didn't necessarily grow over time. They didn't get wiser as they got older. So in that way, well, they did, but let me tell you actually what it was. Your attraction to that person kind of changes because things happen in your life that make you change a little. Things happen in that person's life that makes them change a little more. And then you go back, this time frame has passed, and now the things that have occurred during that time frame have changed the two of you in a certain way. And now you go back into the situation and you guys don't connect as much as you think. So I think sometimes, like, okay, that situation could have worked out, but because of the time that has passed, you guys are not the same, and you think it's going to work out, but it doesn't necessarily happen that way. So now, like, I've grown, I've been through certain experiences, and I no longer tolerate the certain things that I used to like in you, or the things that I used to tolerate in you, or the toxicity. Now I'm a person that doesn't care for toxicity. I used to be a person that loved it because it was fun. I was young. I didn't have a bigger plan for my future, but now that I'm back with you, the toxicity won't work for me. So therefore, this relationship can't work. So, I'm not going to tolerate the arguing all the time because I'm a person that's like, all right, we got to talk things through. But you're not into that. You haven't grown to that level yet. So therefore, I'm not going to be able to operate in this situation. So that's why I say it's not really healthy to go back to situations all the time. Again, depending on why you guys broke up in the first place.